My name is Alara Winslow. I'm 24 years old, and what happened to me at the Hollow Pines Lodge was never supposed to be remembered, not by anyone who survived it. They told me the inn only had 8 rooms. They lied. There's a 9th room hidden in plain sight, and once you see the door, it sees you back. I thought it was just a locked utility closet until I heard my own voice calling from inside, but I was standing outside and I hadn't spoken. Subscribe, like, and share if you've ever passed a door that wasn't there yesterday and felt something standing behind it. This story is written and edited by Dark Lifeside Diaries. I checked in on a Thursday, rain pounding on the windshield as I pulled up to the Hollow Pines Lodge, a wooden structure tucked between dying pine trees and a lake that didn't reflect the sky, just shadows. The woman at the front desk never smiled, just slid me the key to room 6 and muttered, "Breakfast at 7. Stay out of the staff wing." I didn't plan to stay long, just a weekend getaway to reset my mind after a terrible breakup and some strange, sleepless nights back in the city. My room smelled like old paper and lavender oil, the wallpaper peeling near the ceiling, the window fogged with something that wouldn't wipe away, and yet it felt quite safe, or so I thought. It wasn't until that night, as I walked down the dim hallway to find the vending machine, that I noticed something I could have sworn wasn't there earlier. A 9th door. It stood perfectly between room 4 and room 5, flush with the wall but slightly crooked, like the wood didn't quite belong there. No number, no light, just a handle that looked worn by countless hands, though none of the rooms ever mentioned it in the guidebook. I reached for it, locked. I thought maybe it was just a storage room until I leaned my ear against it and heard breathing, not mine, not someone else's either, but mine again. That's when it spoke, my voice from the other side of the door, whispering, "Don't leave me locked in here again." I backed away so hard I nearly tripped. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. The shadows in the corner of the room shifted with each blink, and at 3:17 a.m. my phone buzzed once with a message from an unknown number. "Room 9 unlocks when you forget who you were." My heart stopped. I turned off the phone, tried to convince myself it was a prank, but the next morning room 9 was gone. Just smooth wall between rooms 4 and 5, like it had never been there. The worst part? The photo I took of the hallway the night before now showed 9 doors, the one in the middle. It was wide open and I was standing inside it, smiling. I told myself I was imagining it, the door, the voice, the photo, that the stress, the insomnia, the break from my life back in Charleston had finally caught up to me. And yet when I looked at my phone again the next morning, the photo was still there, me inside a room I've never entered, smiling in a way that looked practice rehearsed, like whoever was taking the picture told me exactly how to pose, and the timestamp on the photo said Tuesday, 2:39 a.m. But I didn't arrive at Hollow Pines until Thursday. That's when the memories started slipping. Names I couldn't recall, phone numbers I've known my whole life suddenly gone to childhood. Photo on my camera roll, I don't remember taking me in a green coat I never owned, standing in front of the Hollow Pines Lodge 10 years ago. I went to confront the front desk woman, but she wasn't there, just a note that said staff away, no new bookings for room 9. I never told her I'd seen it, never said a word. The hallways changed after that subtly, like the walls breathed in when I walked through. Room 9's door appeared again that night, but this time it wasn't crooked. It was perfectly aligned with the others, numbered cleanly and brass like it had always belonged. I pressed my hand to the knob and it turned halfway before locking, like it knew I wasn't ready yet. I turned around fast, heart pounding, and stopped dead. My reflection in the window across the hall didn't move. It stared at me, tilted its head in a way I didn't, and whispered, not aloud but directly into my head, "You didn't leave. You were taken out." That night I dreamt of a childhood. I didn't live a bedroom filled with postcards from places I've never been, a woman who called me Clara, and a journal filled with looping cursive handwriting that wasn't mine but felt familiar. When I woke up, the same journal was lying on the edge of my bed. Page 1, read, "My name is Alara Winslow. I checked into Hollow Pines to disappear. This is my second attempt, but I never wrote those words, at least. I don't think I don't remember walking to room 9, only that I woke up standing in front of it, barefoot, the hallway dark and humming like something alive beneath the floorboards. The brass number on the door glowing faintly as if it recognized me, and this time when I turned the handle, the door opened without resistance, like it had been waiting for me to finally stop pretending I didn't belong there. The air inside was warmer than it should have been, thick with the scent of rain and dried lavender, just like my grandmother's house, the one that burned down when I was 12. And when I stepped in the room, didn't look like a hotel suite at all, but like a perfect recreation of a place I had no memory of yet knew exactly how To move through, there were photographs of me on the walls, not from my phone, not edited, but printed, aged, framed, showing me smiling with people I didn't know but instinctively called friends. A bookshelf held journals, all labeled Ilara W. Going back 20 years, but that's impossible. I am only 24. He opened one of the journals and read about a camping trip to Stone Lake in 2013, a place I've never been, with a girl named Nina who braided my hair and told me never go near the white tree at night. The entry ended with, "This time I remembered to forget the scream." My hands shook. I turned on the old TV in the corner and it flickered to footage of me sitting in this very room reading that exact page in real time, and then the image froze and my eyes on the screen looked up slowly directly at me. I backed away, heart thudding. Behind me, the door had closed, locked. I turned back toward the bed, and that's when I saw her asleep under the covers. Someone who looked like me but younger? Or older, or just earlier. Her eyes opened. She didn't scream, she just whispered, "You're the next one. Don't fight it or you'll stay broken like me." I ran, slammed my fists against the door until it opened. The hallway was gone, the room was gone. I was in my own suite again. But everything was just slightly off, the colors too warm, my shoes in the wrong place, the phone showing a different lock screen, one I never set in my name. It was still Ilara Winslow. But the handwriting on my ID had changed. The room hasn't disappeared since I entered it. I walk past every night and it's always there now, waiting, door cracked just wide enough to show flickering lamplight in the faint shape of someone standing still inside. And though I swear I never go back in, I always wake up with dust on my feet and pages torn from journals I don't own tucked under my pillow, entries written in my handwriting but in a tone that feels older, quieter. Resigned, I'm starting to forget details of my real life, where I used to work, what my apartment looked like, who I last texted, and when. I look through my phone, none of the contacts feel familiar anymore, yet I keep getting voicemails from women whispering, "Ilara, stay out of room 9, I'm not strong enough to do it again." The voices all sound like me, slightly distorted, like they've been recorded from beneath water or across static. One night, I found a box behind the dresser in room 6 labeled for the next her. Inside were Polaroids of me at different ages. Only some weren't me, not exactly. One girl had a scar on her eyebrow I don't have. Another had green eyes instead of brown. A few wore clothes I'd never wear. But the backgrounds were always the same. The porch of Hollow Pines, room 9's hallway, a bathroom mirror fogged over with the words, "Reset successful." I dropped the box, panicked, and turned to leave, but caught sight of my own face in the bathroom mirror, only it wasn't me, not fully. She smiled wider, blinked slower, and mouthed, "We're all just waiting our turn." I confronted the front desk clerk the next morning, demanded answers, but she just stared at me with the saddest eyes I've ever seen and said, "You're version 11. I thought you'd last longer before you started asking." I tried to scream, but I couldn't find the breath. She handed me a small envelope with my name on it. Inside was a single brass key, marked room 10, but there's no room 1, oh, at least not yet. I didn't mean to use the key. I kept it buried under towels, sealed in the mini fridge, wrapped in foil, anything to stop it from calling to me in midnight, but it was always in my hand. By morning, warm, pulsing like it had a heartbeat of its own. And the night I gave, and it led me to a place I swear was it on the map. Down the back stairwell, past the boiler room, through a brick wall that opened like a mouth, revealing a hallway of flickering bulbs and muffled voices whispering my name. Not angrily, not fearfully, but with recognition, like I was late for something I'd agreed to long ago. The brass plaque on the door at the end didn't say room 10, it just read archive in chipped black paint, and the lock clicked before I even touched it. Inside was a narrow corridor lined with mirrors, but none of them showed me as I am now. They showed me almost me. One version sobbing in a hospital gown, another smiling through gritted teeth with missing fingernails, one rocking silently, her mouth sewn shut by threads of red light. Every few feet a reel-to-reel tape played on loop, my voice telling stories I've never lived. Some of the tapes were labeled with dates that haven't happened yet. In the center of the room was a chair facing a screen, and on it flickered every moment of my life, but rearranged. My first kiss in a city I've never visited, my graduation day, wearing a different school's logo, my parents replaced by 2 strangers who waved as if they raised me. I couldn't look away. I saw myself laughing, dying, screaming, sitting still, and at the end of the reel a message printed across the screen. "Do you accept this version?" A button below it blinked YES or nitrogen monoxide. I reached out, trembling. But before I could choose, I heard footsteps behind me, soft, careful, and slow. I turned. 12 versions of me stood in the doorway, some broken, some silent, one missing her eyes, and in perfect unison they whispered, "If you choose Ron, you stay with Stood in front of that flickering screen, frozen pulse pounding louder than the static around me, the YES in nitrogen monoxide. Buttons blinking in a rhythm that somehow matched the cadence of my thoughts, as if the room already knew how I was leaning, but how could I say yes to a life I didn't recognize one where? I smiled too wide in photographs I never took where memories fit too neatly too. Cleanly, like someone had trimmed the sharp edges of grief and confusion just to make it easier to upload. I turned to the other versions of me standing silently in the doorway, each one a warning, a consequence, an echo that chose too late or not at all, and suddenly, I understood. Room 9 wasn't a place you entered. It was a question you answered. A fork in the mind where your identity split and only one outcome got to keep walking. I reached out slowly toward nitrogen monoxide, my hand shaking, but just before I touched it, the girl with the missing eyes stepped forward, head tilted, and whispered into the hollow air, "He already said yes for you." The screen changed instantly. My reflection disappeared. A new reel played, but it wasn't mine. It was her life now, the one outside, the Elora they all saw. Confident, composed, beloved, and I realized she had taken my place the moment I stepped into Room 9, that this wasn't a choice anymore. It was a confirmation. The button now read, "Version locked." The door behind me sealed shut with a slow grinding click, and the archive lights dimmed one by one. I backed away from the screen and bumped into the mirror directly behind me. Only it didn't show me anymore. It showed her wearing my sweater, answering my phone, smiling the way I used to the other versions, stepped back into the shadows, blending with the dark like ghosts with nowhere left to echo. I understood now. Room 9 didn't kill you. It archived you somewhere above me in a life I no longer had access to. Another version of Alara Winslow lived on, stabilized, synchronized, accepted, and me? I'm still down here watching, remembering everything she chose to forget. I don't know how long. I've been down here hours, days, maybe years. Time is distorted in the archive, stretched like rubber bands that never snap, but I've stopped aging, stopped aching, stopped feeling altogether, except for one thing: the memory of what used to be mine and the constant knowledge that she's still up there, living it, walking in my skin, wearing my name like a well-fitted coat, laughing in places I've never been allowed to see again. And the worst part is that she doesn't glitch, doesn't fail, doesn't forget like the rest of us. She's the perfect version of Alara Winslow, balanced, filtered, chosen, and I was supposed to vanish like the others, quietly, like a corrupted file marked discarded. But something went wrong during my overwrite, and I didn't fully delete, which is why I still see her in reflections that should be mine here. Her voice shifts slightly at the end of sentences. Notice her hesitate when someone asks about memories she never actually lived, and that's how I knew I still had a way back. The system had failed just enough, so I waited. I listened. I wrote across the walls of the archive in ash and static, crafting a path. She'd eventually find a breadcrumb trail buried inside her head, disguised as nightmares, flashes, wrong memories at the wrong time. And when I felt her falter just once, I struck. Last night she looked in the mirror and said, "I feel like I'm not alone in here." That was me. I cracked the reflection. Today she woke up with blood on her palm and a journal under her pillow that she doesn't remember writing. That was me too. And tomorrow when she opens Room 9 again, out of curiosity or fear or that glitch she's convinced is nothing, I'll be waiting, not to beg, not to cry, but to take everything back, because this isn't her life. It was never hers. It was mine. I'm done being the version that got replaced. Thank you for experiencing the 9th room at Hollow Pines. What if your life didn't belong to you? What if someone else already started the download? Subscribe, like, and share before your next dream isn't yours anymore. This story is written and edited by Dark Lifeside Diaries.